This is for my kids, by the way. Look, where is it? See there, it says learning and respect. So I'm just letting you all know that's what my school of excellence is about. I don't know about belonging, but you belong wherever you follow the crowd. So if you want to follow the crowd, that's where you belong. But my school's built on learning and respect. And for my kids only, I just want everyone to know all the stuff I put on social media, everywhere. It's not for anyone else but me and my children, because one day I've gave Ruby my Facebook details and login password, and they can all look at it. Look, things like this, yeah. Look, no stopping, 8 till 5, Monday to Friday, and look, no parking over this thing. Look, it says no parking, and look, there's that. It also right. So I'm just showing my kids what drove me out of their life, because I was trying to hold people account for double standards, like police. Who make up lies. Look, no parking, and there they are parked. I mean, who would park over this anyway? It's a fucking alley, look. Right, but anyway, but there's a van parked there where it says no parking, and it says no parking 8 till 5, and there's a zigzag. So like, when Mummy joined the police because she wanted to help people, and then I find things on my medical records, like I've got a history of domestic violence when I've not. I've not even been to court for domestic violence, let alone any convictions. I started challenging people, saying, well, what are you talking about, mate? I ain't got a history of domestic violence. Why is it on my record? And they wouldn't take it off. And then they started adding coercive, controlling. And I asked the people who put it on there, which was Louise Metcalf, I asked them, I said, well, how am I controlling coercive that's on my records? Can you explain? And they said, I'm stalking her because I'm asking why they're telling lies. And they also said that Nextdoor wasn't stalking us, and giving Lily nightmares, Ruby seeing eyes in the curtain, and things like that. And Eve coming up to me saying she's scared of the camera next door. So there's all three of them, examples of what it does to little children. So this is what I opened my school of learning and respect about. Like, I'm trying to teach the police about the rule of law, and no one's above the law, and that includes police who make up lies and come and arrest you unlawfully time and time again, as you all saw. You kids saw it. They used to knock on my door and say, we're arresting you. I say, well, for what? And they wouldn't tell me. And then PCH was saying he'll kick the door off if I didn't open it when he didn't have a warrant. So they're all acting unlawfully. So I tried to hold them to account. And then they said I'm stalking them when I questioned them, saying you're not acting within the law. And they said I'm stalking, I'm delusional. They forced needles in me for 4 years. They didn't follow any procedures when they put me in hospitals, prisons. It was all unlawful. And I was trying to find my way home. Like the song Estranged says, I jumped into the river too many times to make it home. I'm out here on my own, drifting all alone. And if it doesn't show, give it time to read between the lines. So one day you'll read between the lines what happened to your dad and how he tried to get home, only to realise he didn't have a home because there was an insider who was manipulating me, gaslighting me, putting things in Lily's toys that wasn't me, and they presumed it was me, to get social services involved. Maxine Burt, remember? Who said to me, I need a mental health assessment. So I went and got one on the way to her, and the doctor said I'm absolutely fine. So I went down there, and I said, I've just had that mental health assessment. And he said, I'm fine. And she said, no, what I meant was you need to have our doctor. So what they mean is a bent doctor to say I'm delusional. But as you know, I'm not. I was just trying to protect me and my kids and our rights. And Mummy, I was trying to protect her as well. Oh yeah, and that day, Lily, do you remember your ladybird pillar? I took that over to Harlow Common with me, and I zipped it up in my tent that day when I went to see Maxine Burt, and I went to have that mental health assessment at Harlow Hospital. There'll be a record of saying that I was fine. And when I zipped the tent up with it in, so it was zipped up, and when I got back to the tent, it was still zipped up, and when I unzipped it, the pillar had gone. And this is the sort of things they do. They play mind games with you. What they do is they let you know that they've been there and that they know where you are and watching you. That's what they've done in our living room. So one day I was trying to get their attention, and everything I'd tried up to then didn't work. So I had to do something drastic. So I went and got a knife out the kitchen drawer where Mummy was asleep, and it was only me in the living room, and I was cutting cheese on the sofa. And then Sergeant Pageant turned up at 6 in the morning and said, "Where's the knife?" I said, "Fuck off. What knife?" And then he come in looking for a knife, and there wasn't any knife because I was upstairs in bed. And then he took me for some mental health assessment in Colchester. And he was laughing at me, thinking that doing this in front of my children was funny. And then when I was there, they were telling me to come in the office for some reason. I was telling them to fuck off. And then the phone rang and they said, "It's your sister." And I said, "Ask her name." And they didn't know her name. He said, "What's your name?" And she didn't know. So they hung up, and then she phoned back, and I said, they said, "It's your sister again." And I said, "What's her date of birth?" Ask her her date of birth. And she didn't know her date of birth. So they hung up again, and I said, "Fuck off, mate," because they were trying to presume I was delusional or something like that. And then my sister walked in. I can't remember which one, Rhonda or Lorraine or one of them. And then that night, when I left Colchester near the hospital, they said, "Remember, you was never here," but I was there, and I remember. And then I come home and I knocked on the door very loudly, and you was all dancing in the living room. You'll remember it. Ruby will remember it. And then so I went round the back and I opened the back door that was open. You was all dancing with Mummy in front of the telly. I said, "Didn't you hear the door knock?" And she said, "No." So I come in the back door and I said, "All right, I've come home. I was fine." I don't know what made him think I had a knife. And anyway, it's totally lawful to have a knife in your living room because I was cutting cheese, as you well know. But how they would know I had a knife is anyone's guess, isn't it? Because I did have a knife and I was on my sofa. Like any other night, I had a knife when I was cutting cheese. But Sergeant Pageant turned up in the morning asking me where the knife was, thinking that it was illegal or something to have a knife in your living room. And even if I did, if I was trying to protect our property, I can do whatever I want in my own house with whatever I want. I've done nothing illegal. But anyway, I slept there that night. I said I'll sleep with Ruby or Lily. I think I slept in Lily's bed. I can't remember. And then I went and slept at Lorraine's in where the white water thing is in Waltham Abbey. And Mummy wouldn't let me come home, even though I was absolutely fine. Because remember, I was just trying to protect you all from wetting yourself, having nightmares about the next door neighbour nicking you and all that, where you cried out for Daddy, not Mummy, and Daddy come and saved you. So I'm just putting this all out there for my kids in the future. So I don't give a fuck about police. I don't give a fuck about hospitals or Heaths or hyenas or anyone. I'm not posting any of this for them. I'm posting it for you, my kids, so you can see what your dad has to go through. So when you go through all my Facebook one day, you'll see how hard they've made it for me to try and get justice and get home to my kids and get answers. Because I've been logging it for 10 years for my children to see one day. I know they're not going to change their ways. All I try to do is hold police accountable for not acting police-like or within the laws. And their job is to detect crime, nothing else. And they told me once, we're not family liaison officers, we're here to detect crime. And that's what I was reminding them of. I was saying, you're committing crimes and you're not, and I'm telling you, you're committing crimes against me and my children, and so is next door. As blatant as the nose on my face, is committing stalking and harassment. And I've given you examples of how, when, dates, how it's affecting my children, the stalking, the effects it has on their minds. And they drove me out and put me in hospitals where they didn't assess me, but they drugged me up for years with the say-so of my family who thought they needed to speak for me. When they arrested me Christmas Eve when I went out to buy you all presents, they thought I didn't commit any crime, but they come and arrested me because after I asked if someone was there and they wasn't, I went and bought you presents, and as I was walking back past, they all come running out and arrest me saying I'm stalking them, which proves that they were stalking me because they knew I was outside. So I'm just letting you know all these things, children, that one day you'll look back on and see what I've had to go through and how I tried to get home to you and protect you from all this shit. And I've done it as well to log what it's like being in controlled environments, because you're going to come across that, especially as they done it to me, Mummy, and they're still doing it to me 10 years or after it started, or 15 years, whatever. It's still going on. And I'm telling you how they do it, how they deny it. They all act on deniability. They've got no accountability. Then you see things like the Lampard inquiry about my friend Abigail Smith, who committed suicide because of things I've mentioned, what goes on in these places. They don't listen to you. They just talk at you. They think they're experts. They're not fucking experts. They're idiots. And I said I would help with the Lampard inquiry because my friend Abby died because of these people, and I lived with her for 3 months, and she told me everything. And I saw no therapy going on. All I saw was drugs going in her body, no therapy. And she used to talk to me and ask me for help. And she was the one that helped me. And I've said I'll help the Lampard inquiry, and they don't want to know because they don't want to hear from people who have been abused by these people. They want to hear from the experts, and the experts are the police who tell lies, and the doctors who stick drugs in you that you don't need for years on end, and then try and force you to have more drugs for further years. And when you film them carrying out a mental health assessment, and you put it on YouTube under Lily the Pink, showing what these people do behind closed doors that no one sees. So I was posting evidence of it. And you see my mum kicked me out for it, saying I'm not putting up this abuse no more, you fucking controlling pricks. They put me on the streets, and I'm still on the streets a year and a half later with no one helping me. And I'm protected under all laws, human rights laws, shelter from the elements, private life without interference from the state. You can look this all up yourself, girls. So just remember, I've been doing this for you. I don't give a fuck about police, courts, bullshit. So one day you'll look back on this and see what I've had to go through, and I've done it for your future, so you don't have to do it. Because if they've done it to me for this long, no doubt you're going to experience it, or get in relationships with men who are controlling and abusive, where I'm not going to be there to kill them, because I'll probably be in prison or dead or whatever. So I'm just showing you how it's done and how they manipulate people and deny that they're doing it. I mean, I've got 10 years of all this. It's all on my Facebook, and Ruby's got all my login details. I'll give it to you when you're old, or get it off of Ruby. My password's never changed, so Ruby knows it, and all my details. I'll give you it if you need it. But yeah, just watch this one day and see what your dad's had to go through just to try and protect your future. All right, girls? All right, love you, bye.